We booked the cheapest flight leaving Santiago tomorrow, and we have absolutely no plans. It's our first time in Chile, we have a 5-day layover, and we weren't really sure what to do. So we let the cheapest flight choose for us. This might sound like a Taipei's worst nightmare, but so far our best travel experiences always come from having no expectations. Now we're in the Chilean Lake District in Northern Patagonia, a place we know next to nothing about. We've flown into Puerto Montt and we're here for 3 days. We've picked up a rental car and we have a vague idea of a couple of spots we want to go to, but that's it. We haven't booked any accommodation or anything, so let's see what we can find. We found a place that does artisanal ice cream, so of course we've had to go and check it out. This is the best ice cream we've had in a while. We've now come to a lake. I've never heard this name pronounced before. I would say Lago Llanquihue, but I think it's almost certain that that is wrong. But it is a nice big blue lake and it is a lovely day today. There's loads of people sunbathing out on the beach. There's people out on the water. Judging by the sunset that guy's making, it's also a little bit cold. And this lake is backed by the Osorno volcano, which unfortunately I think the camera is not going to pick up very well today because it's quite hazy, but it is that perfect classic volcano kind of look, very conical, kind of like the Mount Fuji of Patagonia. So you can just about make it out over there through the haze. Now these are my kind of swans, the motionless kind that don't act erratically. We have sushi and chips from a food truck just by the lake. Kind of an interesting combination, but two things I really like. That water is not warm whatsoever, but it is really clear and really clean. We've run out of drinking water, not a problem because we have a water filter and that's the perfect type of water that we look for when we're using the water filter. So far, this northern part of Patagonia is quite different from what we saw down south in Tierra del Fuego. Well, that was very much reminding us of kind of like the Rocky Mountains of Canada with this dramatic mountain scenery. This scenery down here is very much more like green rolling hills and forests so far and lakes. We've just found this hotel near to a place called Petrohue. This hotel is in a really beautiful setting. We've got a balcony, and from the balcony you've got these beautiful views all across the lake, and we just had a bit of a sunset as well. And then this is the inside, which is just pretty standard really for a hotel room. You've got the beds, TV, small table, bathroom. So the highlight is definitely the view that we have outside and the balcony. It's super peaceful out here this morning. All you can really hear is the sounds of the birds. Just stopped off in a town called Petrohue, which is apparently a town that has some German influence. It looks like quite a quaint little town. I don't think we'll spend too long here, but I'm not sure if we'll have many food options after this. So we're going to go grab some food and then we will carry on.
We've decided to move on because all of the parking in Petrohue is paid and we couldn't get the payment to work. It doesn't seem to like foreign cards.
We've come on to the next town, which is called Puerto Montt, and this place looks like a really nice little quaint town. It's got this lovely little waterfront area. This is the Reloncavi Fjord, and it is the first of the fjords that dominates the landscape of southern Chile. And you can see that the landscape here has now turned from being rolling green hills into proper mountains. And we've just arrived at Termas Cocamo, which are some hot springs that we're hoping to go and check out. The hot springs were actually closed yesterday. The timings on Google were not actually accurate. So we continued driving along down to the fjord. The road was super dusty, so the car is really filthy now. And we've come to some other hot springs which we're going to go and check out this morning, called Termas del Sol, which looked a bit better rated. And only 10 minutes away we found this nice little wooden cabin with a log burner. So we stayed here last night. This shower is so interesting. The water comes horizontally out of these nozzles. This is set in a lovely wooded setting. Now we're off to the hot springs. We've now just arrived at the hot springs, but wow, on that short drive here, the landscape was beautiful and it really felt like what you imagine from Patagonia. Big mountains, green valleys, and the benefit of driving all the way into the middle of nowhere to come to the hot springs is that there's hardly any cars in the car park, so hopefully it'll be nice and quiet. We're just walking down this boardwalk to get to the hot springs, but look at this setting amongst the trees. It's really beautiful. There are about 5 different pools here in the hot springs of different temperatures, starting from about 36 going up to 40 something, I think. And we've got one to ourselves right now, which is 37 degrees. There's actually 9 hot pools and 1 cold pool. The cold plunge is 20 degrees C and surprisingly pleasant after soaking for a while in the hot pools. And there's also a natural cold spring you can take a dip in. The hottest pools are so warm I found it unbearable to put more than just my lower legs into the pools. Apparently the temperature coming from the hot springs is about 60 degrees C, and they change the temperature of the pools just by letting them cool down naturally overnight by being exposed to the air and then topping them up with more water. So there's no cold water or anything added to them, it's all just natural hot spring water. This is mango and passion fruit juice, 2 of my favourite juices in one. Wow, that's really good. Pizza in the hot springs, not a bad way to spend a day. I don't know about you, but for me, there's something about taking a dip while overlooking a beautiful view that's really hard to beat. After finally tearing ourselves away from the hot springs, we retraced the bumpy road back along the fjord. The roads might not be the best condition, but the views certainly made up for it. Look at this beautiful view here down the fjord. Blue water, mountains on all sides. This is definitely the image that we've had in our heads of Patagonia. We have just arrived to the Petrohue waterfalls, and this is the only place in this area that I'd actually heard of before coming here, and judging by the amount of people around and the amount of cars in the car park, it looks like it's a pretty popular spot. Okay, word of warning if you are coming to this part of the world, this waterfall actually closes at 5 p.m. and unfortunately we've rocked up at 5:05. So it's closed. Didn't even think to check that a natural attraction would have opening or closing times, especially when we still have 4 hours of daylight left. So I guess we'll have to come back again in the morning. Just down the road there are a couple of viewpoints of the river that are free to access at least. And I have to say the views here are pretty good. For tonight's accommodation, we have found this little bubble dome thing, complete with a wood burner, a little kitchen area, oven, hob, fridge, sink, bathroom, and then out here we have a hot tub. Unfortunately, we didn't use the hot tub in the end because apparently it's only open between 4 p.m. and 8 p.m, which is kind of a shame and like a bit of a waste of having it really, but oh well. There should be a great view of the volcano just there, but it's completely covered in clouds. The water is so clear. We've got lucky and the volcano has peaked out just enough between the clouds so that we're able to see the view. If I'm honest, I did find the waterfall a little bit underwhelming and not that much better than the free viewpoints that we stopped at along the river yesterday. But when the volcano popped out behind the clouds with the waterfall in the foreground, then that was a really beautiful scene. This whole time that we've been here in Chile, we have been able to pay everything on card, so we never bothered to get out any cash. But just now, as we're driving to the airport, we've gone through a toll road, and of all places to only accept cash when there's nowhere else that you can go and you're just stuck there, that's the place that doesn't accept card. So we didn't have any cash. Luckily, they were willing to accept Argentinian pesos, which we happen to have, because otherwise I don't know what we would have done. So after this little taste of this beautiful part of the world, all I can say is that we definitely need to come back and explore some more.